Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando, Thursday, May 30th, 7:38 p.m. Thank you so much for being live with us. Definitely not, again, another, I'll take it kind of like an L, honestly. I mean, it was pretty bad. The game against Chicago. We'll discuss all of that. But also, we're going to talk about the real expectations coming up against the Red Bulls. Look, I'll take the few positives I have, which are very few. Martino Ojeda started. I don't know if Oscar's watching the show, but Martino Ojeda playing with Luis Muriel right up top, so I'll take that as a positive. They kind of were canceling each other in a little bit. They weren't really used to playing with each other, but that shows you that Ojeda can play that position. Referee decisions, again, affecting the game for Orlando City. And Pedro Galese with a really bad mess up. Now, I'm not going to put the whole weight of this draw into Pedro because the team should have scored more goals. So I mean, Pedro definitely could have this situation or this bad day at the office, but the whole rest of your team needs to be on point. And another thing is, and this is going to sound controversial, but then I'll give the mic to John. I think we need to start looking to a different captain because Robin Jens is not going to play against the Red Bulls. So we need to find a backup captain. We'll discuss all of that and more. Stay tuned. Drop us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. John, how are you, my friend?
Hey man, or I'm okay. Yeah, just it was disappointing. That's like what I tweeted after the game. Just everything about it. Everything from our performance to Chicago's performance, for the lack of people. I could see there the horrible reffing, just disappointing all around.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's, we're going to be talking about summer transfers. We're also going to preview the Red Bulls, as I already said. We have the training footage. Today they trained. We'll go over all of that. So, let's start again with Orlando City's lineup. The 3-5-2, right, John? What are your initial thoughts on the 3-5-2?
I mean, there's only one thought, isn't it? Right.
Right.
The same thought that you've got is why is Facu Torres still playing left wing back? And Angulo in the middle kind of worked, but also kind of didn't. I mean, I understand that he in that more central position, Angulo is like he's a big threat with that pace, but also when he gets up the field. So I just swap them around if it was me, or better yet, maybe play Santos there. Like, he looked better, honestly, when he came on in that's his natural position. So I think it's too far back and too far wide for Faku to be an effective winger. He needs to be more in the middle of the park. And so that was just frustrating. It was like football put it out with Angulo at left wing back and Faku like an Ojeda as the two attacking mids like next to Muriel. And I was like, oh look, even football thinks it should be that way. Kind of knowing that it probably wasn't going to be that way. Yeah, I don't understand that one. It's very strange to me. I get that he's left-footed, and but I just think that he's so much more effectual in the middle of the park. So
I mean,
there are times that he's learning it, but I still think he's too far out wide and too far back. He needs to be more in the middle, near the goal. That's where
it,
Faku can be Faku.
it was to me for starters. I do want to say this is a very weak Chicago team, but I will give a lot of kudos for these guys because those 11 guys in red truly stepped up in the second half. And I think if you're a Chicago Fire fan and you saw the second half your team played, that's the way you probably want your team to play every single game. Like with that edge, with that stamina, they weren't giving up any single ball. They literally cornered Orlando City, in my opinion, in the second half. Facu Torres as a left wing back, to me, I mean, I really don't know how to say it. I would have definitely loved to see him more in the middle. Ivan Angulo, I don't know why we switched Torres and Angulo. I see Torres more on Ivan's place right there, unless maybe Oscar feels that Ivan is going to link up with Luis Muriel. Um, I highly doubt, honestly. I didn't understand that. He did score a goal, which to me was one of the worst goals I've ever seen in it was just really bad. But indeed, it is a goal nonetheless, and we're gonna give kudos to Faku for scoring his second goal of the season. Could you believe that? Second goal of the season for Facu Torres, right? And it was a 3-5-2 again. David Brecalo, great game. Wilder again. Kind of being a little overpowered sometimes by Hugo Kuipers, but overall, I think the back line I would have moved this back line. Now we're gonna see Rodri again in the starting lineup against New York, and Forsberg is gonna be playing. So just keep in mind all of that. So let's start with see the game, the goals, right? Let me look them up right now, real quick. Is there any comments maybe there, John? You see or no?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay, well, drop us your comments, guys. Um, honestly, for you, for starters, what do you think Chicago did that was working for them?
I mean, not a lot, honestly. I mean, I think their finishing was bad. They're very direct, and they were causing us problems by these like long balls that we weren't really dealing with very well. And then they get in these positions up the field, and Kuipers, I don't know how you say his name. He constantly was just whiffing it. Who's the other guy that was not playing well? Their other striker, I can't remember right now, but he was missing as well. It just was there's lack of quality. I mean, yeah, Tom Barlow was not. Gutierrez had some looks, and then they had like Gutman and some of the center backs at one point had a shot. It wasn't very good quality, and neither were we. Honestly, it was a lot of like, oh, we're creating chances, but no one's got the metal to finish them. I mean, our first goal, I know in South America, Luis, they're talking about it as one of the worst goals ever scored. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that bad. I mean, it's laughable. It's laughable, but also laughable in the sense that their defense was that like panicked and it went in, but also the amount of times that we tried to shoot the ball and couldn't put it in the back of the net as well. So I don't know what's more embarrassing, Luis, their defense or our inability to finally the ball goes in from Faku pulling over,
Look,
basically. I
I
tweeted that the
think
ball didn't want to go in the net, Luis.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's a mixture of both. Tactically here, Angul. I mean, this is the actual lineup. Like, you know, what was on the field. So you see Torres and Angulo right there on the pretty much on the left side. Um, they were switching, with each other, and that worked. And then we saw Angulo on the right. So Angulo was all over the place playing Facu's spot, and Facu was playing Angulo's spot. Now, that could, in a way, confuse some people, right? Martino Hayes starting with Luis Muriel right up top. I don't know if El Profe watches our pod, but I suggested that, no, I'm not going to take any credit, right? No, but honestly, what are your thoughts of this partnership between Ojeda and Muriel?
I think Ojeda is. I don't know. The last few games been really bad from him. I think this game he's just. I can start to see why Oscar doesn't want to play him as
Right.
much. He just gives away the ball, man. This game he just we be making those connections up the field, 1-2s, passing our way up, and then it got to Ojeda, and he just tried to dribble and lose it, or I mean, expected xG, sorry, xG and expected goals and expected assists for him 0.01. I mean, it's I struggling to think of anything good he did in this game, Luis. So as much as we've been like, yeah, play Ojeda, he got a couple of chances in these last two games, and he's not. I feel like he's looking worse. I said it before. I don't know how he fits in this formation, what his job is, because he seems the he seems to be, going backwards right now
I
as a
have a
guy, not
feeling,
forwards,
right? I have a
especially
feeling
as a DP. That's a terrible performance for a DP last night.
we're going to see Duncan. Um,
If he's fit,
yeah, I
or
think,
Enrique, man,
yeah,
Enrique, if he can play 90, start Enrique with Muriel, that
right,
over Ojeda then, because
right.
as much as we wanted to see that, we saw it, and I honestly I think Ojeda is I don't know. There's
Well,
something really off about this guy right now.
I don't know what's going on, but for a lot of the game, I noticed that a lot of them were just they had horrible passing all around. A lot of
Dagger and Bercalo like constantly missing each other with passes.
Yeah, a lot of turnovers. Very. I mean, we have to give thanks that this was Chicago Fire and not like
Yeah,
Seattle Sounders or LAFC,
but
because
we should have beat Chicago is the
right,
worst part.
right,
We're
right. Well, what
thankful
I'm
they
trying to
didn't beat us, but we should have been beating them. Like,
right, what I'm trying to say is that there was a lot of turnovers, a lot of heavy passes, a very light passes, and for a team that has been gelling or brewing together for 2 years, it's not expected for them to play this bad when it comes to passing, especially if a lot of your players are really good players with their feet. They do you see in the footage for the trainings, the rondos and them laughing each other, and I mean, those rondos, you gotta put. I don't know what they gotta happen, but I mean, those rondos didn't seem to be working in this game. I just feel like they try to be a little clever, over clever when making a pass, and they just kind of second guess themselves, and they create a stupid turnovers. And it was honestly, it just made the whole formation disorganized from the get go. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about that, John?
yeah, it's not great, is it? I mean, I'm not a, I'm not super impressed with the situation right now. So
Well,
this was a game we should be winning, man.
yeah, definitely.
This is they are not good, and we made them look a lot better than they
Yeah,
are, and that's really frustrating.
Yeah, this should have been 3 points on the bag, and then Orlando would have been eighth right now in its standing. So
I think it's the same problem as the overall thing, Luis, is that it's still we're not finishing our plays. We're getting up there, getting chances, getting in open space, and making the wrong decision, not hitting the net, not testing the keeper. It's just sloppy at both ends, and that's where
right,
I think everybody's fed up of watching. And I get it. I'm fed up of it too. Watching so much sloppiness and like we in this game we had so many chances that we broke away that other teams would just be like, well, that's a goal because he's away on goal and he's through. And then we're looking for the pass, like the one by Angulo. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but Angulo's one was terrible. Enrique at the end should win that. Should score there. He should win the game for us. We're just not. We're not clinical. And then at the other end, we're still sloppy. So it's we're not getting out of that habit, Luis. It's just repeating itself over and over.
yeah, and I mean you could. I mean, and again, I'm not saying that every single team should make those mistakes, but I mean you could honestly make those mistakes if you score the chances that you make. So if, let's say Orlando would have scored two two chances and the game would have been 3-1. Okay, look, okay, yeah, Pedro had a mess up. All right, we're still winning, we're still up in ante, right? But unfortunately, is that we put ourselves, like you said, in situations that are mentally to overcome for the players, so they kind of defeat themselves in a way. You could see their body language with each other, and then they are not able to overcome that hurdle, and then they just miss every single time, right? So let's keep watching. Let's watch the first goal, because it was in the fourth minute. Now I do have to say the MLS cuts this too, because I try to look for that foul, and
Position in the back line, and there's a giant hole for them to attack.
not only got a position, but just and I guess if you're listening, we're watching minute 36 on the highlights. You can check them out. You know, not only out of position, but like no, when you're going to the tackle, be physical, man. Don't be afraid of contact. And I feel like he's just there. He doesn't even he allows the pass to go. And that's not defending. And I know he's not used to, and right there, like he could have like gone and try to get Kuipers. Yes, you could look for free kick, right? But sometimes you have to make those decisions. You know what I mean? um right there, you know
Here for you, it's in the.
yeah, yeah, send it to me. So let's talk about that, because that was
We got a comment first from Francis.
Miss Francis says, if Ojeda is not a starter, and if he's not adjusting to Oscar's playstyle, what do you think Orlando City should do with him?
I think we got to say it's been 2 years. You're not DP level. Either we're gonna buy you down and just have you as a sub attacking midfielder, or we got to move you on because it's like, I mean, at this point, that's what you gotta do. Your
I
DPs have to be producing, and he's not producing. I mean, has Ojeda got an assist or a goal even this so far this season?
don't think so. I don't know.
I mean, we talk about him being a bright spark because he comes on and does some things great with the ball, but it doesn't actually end in anything of substance.
So for everybody that said that Ojeda should start, I think this proves.
No, and
they
I was calling for Ojeda to
they
start,
they
man.
already they
We
already
wanted it,
tried him. They already tried
but
Ojeda.
he stunk this game, man.
They tried him as a winger. They tried him as a 10. They tried him as an midfield. They've tried it everywhere. Now they tried him as a striker, which he's played in Godoy Cruz before, next to Muriel. All right.
Like, unless they
Uh,
want to renegotiate his contract in the summer, Luis, he's going to be a
probably.
DP. Like
Probably
they
that's.
they could do that. They could be like, look, man, we're going to buy you out of DP status, which they'd
I
probably be justified to do. But whether they do that in the summer or whether we got to just have him as a DP till the end of the year, either way, I think it has to be reviewed because he's
look
not hitting the numbers for
depending
that
on how
contract.
I mean, depending on how far Orlando gets, I think you need to evaluate if he stays or goes. To me, I think off the bench he was a spark, and I would have rather seen him be a spark than just having all these. Now we're all talking about how bad of a game he had. You know
It,
what I mean?
it was, yeah. It was
Yeah.
just noticeable how many times the play broke up because of Ojeda.
So let's look at the penalty.
Avoid that contact altogether.
Now look at Angulo, man.
Right? And
No,
even if it is that right, whatever, other teams would get this call. So that's what
correct.
really annoys me. It's like, okay, right or wrong, if the refs are going to be sucky and give that every time, then why aren't they giving it to us? And I think
Now
that's the really like be bad, but be consistently bad. Don't just like decide that you want to, nitpick on our calls. I I'm done with it, man. It's crazy sometimes. It's
look,
crazy.
number one, I do want to say Angulo could have done a little
You
better.
see,
Like he could have just shot there.
No, I mean it's bad that we didn't,
Right,
but
right,
it is the guy comes barreling into the back of him.
right,
9 times out of 10, MLS refs, they pro refs, they're calling that. They're
right.
calling that as a penalty because of what happens. Like, but you don't give that for us. It's just yeah. And after last week too, come on.
Yeah. So I agree with you there. I feel that Angulo should have shot it the ball a little earlier, or but yeah, he was fouled on the box. There was a light touch there. And if this would have been Raul Ruidiaz, if this would have been Buanga, if this would have been Chicho Arango, I guarantee you this would have been a penalty.
I mean, last week the penalty against us that they was
Yeah.
way less going on than that.
And
So
and and Facu, I don't know how can you shoot the ball like that. Like, that's another thing. It's like at least you could have passed it back to Muriel. Muriel would have scored that.
then before he gets
That's
it back
right.
down on
Yeah,
the ground,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
it's a foul.
It is a foul.
You
It
call it
is.
weak, you can go well enough, and I agree with everybody that says that. And I think we can't
No,
nitpick on everything, but it's just after the last game and this, it's
of
like this is
course
just ridiculous. Like
we should not be.
we're
We
being
should
hyper like
right,
examined on VAR, and calls are going against us every time.
right. That that should not happen. I agree wholeheartedly. I think these calls are gonna happen. It happens to every single team, but I mean, it seems that it's always Orlando with all these calls, right? But nonetheless, Orlando could have scored two or three on them, and they didn't capitalize. So that's definitely on them, and on the team, unfortunately. Now, let's go back to the let's let's go back to the footage.
Back
Minute
to that.
thoughts about that, because almost every yellow he's had, it's because it's not related to to him, at least fouling somebody in the
I
at the
think
game.
when
It's just
we
dissent.
when he got the captaincy, we all said like it's great, like he's a leader, but also he needs to show it by example. And too often he's the one, yeah. That, and like a lot of the time when we all lose it, your captain on the field has to be the one that is the calm head, and he's not doing that. So like at the end of the first half as well, he was talking to the ref, whatever. I think is that when he gets the yellow, or is it no? It's actually in the play, but someone got a yellow at the end of the first half. So to talking to the ref, I don't know if that was Jensen or if it was actually in the game. But either way, the man, yeah, he's got to watch it. And like you said,
Yeah.
I think also for being the on the back line, I need to see him more ordering around the back line. He doesn't do enough. I see Burial more than anybody pointing over here and over there and like get that, you know what I mean? Which is great to see in the attacking phase, but we need somebody on the back line doing that, and it should be obviously
No,
Jansen.
do you no now we're gonna check out Chicago's goal, but and let's check it out before we go any further. Minute I think it was minute 70. Yeah, minute 70. Uh, jeez. This made news in Peru. It was just like what?
Highlights the last.
No, that's Dagerdan right there.
How about the touch on that
And that was Robin. You know?
pass outside
And yeah.
But where's
foot on the wrong
Brekalo
side of the
and Wilder? Like, you know what I mean? They're
Exactly.
the two in between Dagger and Johnson's the
defender,
left
right into
sided
the
of
path
the
of
three center. Brekalo misses the tackle up there.
Correct. And there's two.
Wilder's marking nobody.
the runner.
And yeah, Jansen. But you know, the thing is, Luis, it wasn't great defensively, but then it could have been stopped. And
Yeah.
it's another Pedro. There's just
Right.
been too many this year, and
That's 100. That's 100
Yeah.
and that's 110% right. I mean,
we thought we were over the hump of Pedro's errors, and you know, it's like, oh nope, there's
but
another one.
again, and just like the penalty, I mean, we could sit here and blame Pedro for the draw, but technically
He's
we
not
could
the
have.
reason we drew this game.
Right, we should have. Right, he's not the. I mean, we should have won 3-1.
But just as it's not good enough in the attacking end, and we're not being clinical in scoring, we're not also being, you know,
Sound
hard
defense.
to beat when
Correct.
Pedro's making stuff like that. Like
That's right.
that's too easy. That's not a save at all. That's that you let it go in.
Right, the way Facu looked at him, you know.
Facu like pulls him up and then looks off like, what
Yeah.
did you just do, man?
Yeah, like what the hell, man? Like come on, man. You know, yeah, I totally
See,
agree.
Facu has like newfound respect, I think, for all the defensive hard work that's going on, because now
Correct,
he's
yeah.
like part of that back line. It's a little bit more like you gotta really work all game and watch your man constantly, and you know, it's a lot of concentration to be on the back line of defense. So I think he's starting to get frustrated with conceding all the time, let alone the fact that you can't score at all.
So people in Peru are actually, and you think this is hilarious what I'm about to say. You guys are probably all of you that are watching and listening are gonna laugh. People in Peru says that those gloves are cursed. That brand, he should have never switched from Adidas to that.
It's probably true. Switch back, Pedro. Get these Adidas gloves. Get whatever you were doing before. Go back to that, because whatever you're doing now, no, it's not working.
I was told by somebody in the federation there, they're going to monitor closely his gloves during Copa America, because they're going to play against Messi, Argentina. LPO actually is going to be there. You know, LPO will be there. Argentina, Peru, and then they're going to play again. He's going to then, you know, Copa America, man. You know, so it's going to be a tough road to climb for Peru, and he's a huge part. And you know, these type of saves, this type of mess ups, because it is a mess up. You know, because I don't know if he's trying to pick up the ball. I don't know if he's trying to, you know, just a complete mess up. And for coming into the beginning of Copa America, it's not sitting well over there. But unfortunately, you know, things happen. You know, feel bad. Now, what? Now, again, I am no coach, but I would have had him talk in the post press conference. That would have been, that would be a Lewis thing. Like, you know, like, okay, you kind of made a mistake. Now you go and talk now to the media, you know?
I mean, yeah, I feel, yeah, there's just no, you just gotta pick yourself up again. It's at some point though, if it happens all season, we got to really consider whether, you know, if he's going to be here next year, because it's cost us several games at this point. You know,
Well,
his errors, not just saying the team isn't playing well, obviously as well, but there have been there's been points that Pedro has dropped us, and I know it's usually the other way, and he's winning us games or getting us because of his insane saves, but that's why we pay him the big bucks, and it's this year it's trending the other way.
Well, there are rumors. So I mean, I don't tend to post those on LPO and either on my personal because they're rumors. So
Yeah,
he's so there's a lot of pundits down in South America. They're saying that he wants to come back to Peru, and I know for a fact that that's not true. He's really happy here in Orlando. He he loves here. His wife loves living here. His family, his kids now go to school here full time. I mean, they're super into Orlando and the city, and they have passes to the parks and things like that. Like they're able to do things as a family. Now, I guess you know he's one of the best pay keepers in the league. I don't want to say, right? So he gets paid over $1 million now. So obviously no one wants to get his salary cut. So I would say, offers may come from within the MLS. They're able to pay him the same or more. And Orlando wants to cut them a couple hundred, and go back to what he used to be paid last season. I mean, it just depends on depends on Pedro,
yeah.
but I mean,
Well, I mean, he's getting to that point with his career where maybe he could be more of a backup keeper, and if he's okay with that, and it all depends mentality wise. Like if
no,
he wants to start all the time, but we can't justify it anymore
no,
because
I
he's
don't
not
think he's gonna be
performing.
trust me, I guarantee you right now, being May 30th, he will never be a backup keeper.
Well, then it's
Now,
going to be a
that's what I'm trying to
conversation
say.
about you're on too much
So,
money for your production. Same
so,
as
so if you're,
Ojeda.
so I'm just put it in perspective. You're cutting me $200,000 out of my salary. You're cutting me 300,000 because this season I have not performed the way you wanted to. But you forget the other years. Now, look at it the perspective of the player, not as a perspective of me, or. Okay, so LA Galaxy, how much I'm available. Let's talk. Okay, I offer you 1.5 million.
I agree, man. There's always that risk, but also
There's always that risk, right?
what are you going to hope that he's going to have a miraculously better season again? Maybe.
Right.
Yeah, I think it depends on whether they think that this is going to continue as trend, or they're going to say, "All right, Pedro, we just had a bad season. Let's go again next year, and we still
I
got faith
mean,
in you and everything else." It depends on their outlook, because of course, yeah, you say, "Hey, we want to bring in another keeper. We're gonna have you reserve. We're gonna pay you less." Of course, Pedro's then thinking maybe I want to go somewhere else, et cetera, et cetera, but. Also, maybe if he's like, "No, I want to stay in Orlando. That's okay with me. I'll play less, whatever." You
yeah,
don't know
maybe he
the
says, "Hey,"
mentality of the players, right,
or
and where
maybe
they're
he
at in
says,
their
yeah, or
career.
maybe he says, "Hey, um, I'll take the 300. I'll take the whatever K cut that you're gonna give me, and then I still want to be the number one. I love Orlando. That
Yeah,
could happen also, you know.
we
But
don't know. We don't
the
know.
reason why he's making buzz right now is because his contract is due at the end of the year, and I know for a fact, these are sources, that he ain't going to leave. He does not want to leave the United States. He does not want to leave the United States. He does not want to leave Orlando.
Well, that's the beauty of MLS, man. If we were like, we're not going to renew you, he'll go in the, redraft, whatever. There's another team in the
Yeah,
league
another
will
team
be
is
like,
in
we need a better keeper. We'll take Pedro Galese.
Inter. He
100%.
can
And
go.
I think that would be fine. And
He can go to
I
Inter.
wouldn't blame us for letting him go. And I wouldn't, you know what I mean? It's at some point, like, I don't want it to turn into Brad Guzan with Pedro, man.
Yeah.
Like that would just is never ending. And I think it gets to a point where you're like, look, if we want to win titles, you need a keeper at the top of his game. If he's not still at the top of his game, then we gotta look elsewhere. But we
But
don't know
also
yet. We
put it
don't
in that
know.
perspective. And I know this gonna sound so weird and so wrong what I'm about to say, but I don't know if a lot of people will agree or not. But it would be my South Americanness coming out. The goalkeeper position, the goalkeeper position, yes, it is important, but a lot of teams manage. Now, you build around your attacking third, your defense, which is stuff that we're still lacking as a team. So I wouldn't just say it's
That's definitely where he gets a pass. It's like the whole team
right,
is playing bad. Like if the defense is
right,
killing it and Pedro's making all these errors, then it
right.
would be so
So
clear. But of course, there's errors from all of the backline. The whole team is responsible for defending,
so
so it's not all on him.
yeah,
But
definitely.
like everybody, at the end of the year, if we're massively underperforming this year, they're going to look at all of these contracts
Of
and say,
course,
"This is where we're."
definitely.
And
And
also, we don't know if it's like, is Oscar going to be here? Is the GM going to be here? Like, I'm not just saying that in like
right,
a
it is true.
because
You're
anything
right.
could
You're
change
right.
like
You're
in
right.
that amount of time.
You're
We don't
100%
know.
right.
The Wilfs might say this is not good enough. We want to start all over again.
Completely, yeah.
We
Hiroshima.
do not
Boom.
know where the level of
Yeah,
like, and that's the
I
same for
agree.
everything here. And that's why I'm patient to wait for the end of the year
Correct.
or at least past the summer, at least like to the point where like if we don't make playoffs, I'll be like, okay, now what are we doing, right? Because we're
You're
not making playoffs. But let's wait a little bit. And I know
you're
it's
so
hard.
right, John.
It's frustrating. I get it, man. I have to tell myself all the time, like,
No,
just let's wait and see. Let's wait and see.
it's
Because
just that
last year everything turned around. It was about this point that
that's
everything went
right.
insanely the other way. And I think if that was our peak last year and like, okay, we're flying our highest, and right now we're kind of like at a low, most likely what's happening the rest of this year is we're gonna average out. And if
Yeah.
we average out, we're like a seventh, eighth,
Eighth,
like a fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth
sixth.
team. Sixth, seventh, that's where I see us at the end of the year, probably. And then you know what I mean? So it's right now they're so extreme. Last year's performances, this year's performances. I think we're gonna kind of balance it at some point this year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, you're this and that. I mean, I think John comes with a perspective, which I think I love that because he's actually lived the behind the scenes of, the club. You know what I mean? So this is important information, right?
It's
So
just
that's a
so much about
right.
their mentality. Like uh,
It's
and
so
there are plenty of
intricate.
owners that like look at the Chicago owners. They're clearly
Exactly.
just very content with like whatever they've been doing. It's a bad. We're way better off than Chicago.
Yeah.
Clearly the Wills care enough to be spending a lot of money to invest, right? So we have been spending money.
Right.
Things, it's just not working out on the field. And then that they might have more questions of like, okay, do we want to make a change?
Correct.
Are
Are we
we
ready
happy
to
with
make
the
a
status
change?
quo and want to run again? Only they know that. And I don't think
Right.
from what I understand of the Wills so far and what I've gauged from all of their actions more than anything, because that's what tells you about your owners is their actions.
That's right.
Their actions so far have shown that they're willing to invest. I mean, look what they've done with the Pride. They've turned that entire organization around.
In 2 seconds.
So it might be the case that they want to do more, and maybe this summer they will still back Oscar, but say let's throw more money at this. Like how can we
How can we improve?
back you to make this better? Or they'll say at some point, no, we need to make a decision best for us. It depends on their level, like I said, of
Right.
determination and how badly they want to win trophies for this organization. And so far, it seems like they're very keen on winning trophies. I mean, they
Yeah.
were delighted to win the Open Cup right after they got the ownership, and they expressed a desire for more. So I don't know why we would. I don't question their desire personally.
No, I agree with you 100%, because I lived on both sides there, with the old ownership and this one, so I could totally understand and see.
Yeah,
Um,
it's night and day compared
it's night and
to
day, like
Flavio.
even
Yeah,
the
I mean
way.
Flavio is just keeping the lights on. The Wilfs are
Correct.
like, let's build a whole freaking, you
Right.
know,
Right.
they're gonna expand to do so much stuff, man.
So they just won the U.S. Open Cup. They've been to playoffs back to back with Oscar, and now, they're closer to win an NWSL championship, which will be huge for the city of Orlando. Now, things take time. I agree with you. I mean, they could say, "Hey, how much would it take for this ball to keep rolling, like, and we actually make it to the promised land. Like, how's it gonna take? And so, they're gonna make those decisions. In the end, I think we just had to keep supporting and keep supporting Orlando.
And also Duncan, what's going on with him? Like we're exporting players for money too, so that
Yeah,
can be reinvested. It's not all about them
yeah,
spending. We're gonna probably make money like we have in the past on
yeah.
players.
Miss Francis says during the upcoming international break, Mason will be our starting goaltender. If Mason has a stellar gameplay, do you think he's got a chance of stealing the starting pot from Pedro? Okay, I'll go first. I think that it would be great for Pedro to feel some fire. And I think it's always great to have competition. I think it would be a good move if Mason's there to compete and, Mason starts playing a little more, for sure. Now, knowing Oscar, if he's taking this long to look for a spot for Facu that honestly has underperformed this whole season just because he's the DP, Oscar, I don't think he'll move Pedro. That's just my opinion. I don't know what are your thoughts there, John. I think John
I, I
froze.
think I think he's got a. Oh,
I don't know. No, you're good, John.
am
Go
I
ahead.
there? I don't know what's going on with my camera. I think he's got to make an incredible game in order to be able to do
Right.
that. And even then, I think, yeah, I
I
think
would love to see
Mason is a
Mason.
very good backup
Yeah.
keeper. I don't know. I think he would need like a good run of games to really show us that he is like ready to go as the number one keeper for this club. He's had a lot of games here and there throughout the years, but we've never. I mean, why year on year do we? Would we? He was here well before Pedro and didn't get the job then. I feel like they look at him as more of a backup guy. Whether Pedro is playing badly or not, I think they're firmly locked in on him being the number one.
Look, there's crazy much, but has Pedro really had a bad season or a subpar season for his standards, which is still good relative to the MLS, in my opinion? Our second in command should stay. Look, I agree with you, my friend Crazy Mush. Um, to me, Pedro is one of the top keepers in the MLS. Now, I also seen the side of Pedro. I've seen Pedro when he first came up. Pedro was never meant. I mean, I know this is so bad, but Pedro was meant to be a Adam Greenwich in Peru. Okay, so life and opportunities came to him, and he knocked them out of the park, and that it's what made him first go to a better team and start, which was San Martin in Peru, and then from San Martin went to Mexico and actually started doing trials for the national team. So, and then in Mexico was a terrible, terrible time. He had to literally like he was not paid. He they didn't pay him because they were narcos. The people who owned that team were like drug dealers. Veracruz or whatever. They got busted and they had to shut down all operations. It was a mess. And it was him and Wilder also playing that team too. You don't know that. And then from that, he went to Alianza Lima, lost a final, and then two Brazilian guys came knocking. It's like, hey, is this Pedro Galese? It's like, yeah. Hi, this is Luis Musi and Enrico Moreira. How are you? We would like to bring you over to Orlando. We would like to see, and boom shakalaka, and the rest is history. And he came in. If you see what Pedro was making, and the info is online, you can check it out. What he was making when he first started, Orlando, he loves Orlando. That's the reason, because when he hit or when he came to the Central Florida and he met all of y'all, all the fans, the organization, the people behind the scenes, all of that, his whole career took off at that point. So he has a huge load of gratitude of Orlando. in that case. So I totally, and not only that, Oscar's staff have made a better keeper. Cesar Baena, a lot of the coaching staff there, like these are type of coaching people that you don't get in the national team, and they've up his game. And I mean, yes, he's having a bad season this year, but I mean, I think he's still a good keeper in my opinion. So I agree with you with your comment there. So all right. Let's I know that there was some comments for Oscar Pareja post game. I don't know if you want to go over those real quick. And then we dive into Chicago, John, or you want to just go into Chicago?
No, I think we talked about most of it. Oh, well, Tehran was one.
Sorry, New York, New York. My apologies.
You're good. Tehran from the Chicago game.
You still look Toronto, right?
Dude, man, it was like Colombia on Colombia violence. Like there was one moment where like Muriel's, it was late in the second half, and Muriel was like backing into him in the box, and the guy's just holding him for like a good, I don't know, 10 seconds or so. And it just made me laugh because I was like, well, okay, we had like what, one arm from a guy in the box, and you call a penalty for that. And Tehran has been like holding onto Muriel all game in the box, and not once do they call that. Like it's just crazy to me sometimes, some of these big physical players, what they're getting away with. And it's like it was several fouls from him and pushing and shoving and all sorts. And the ref, he didn't even get a yellow card all game. So I just think it's frustrating, man, to see that kind of stuff happen, and they get calls and we don't. And the other thing in this one is Enrique, man. I thought he was going to come on and win it. I was like, yeah, Enrique, come on. He had that chance right at the last there in the 90 something.
Yeah.
And even Enrique is like, oh, I'll stop and make the pass. I'm like, dude, just shoot. Just shoot the ball there, bro. And that made me want to like throw something at the TV. I was so frustrated at that point because that second half was rough, dude. Like we just Chicago. Let them back in the game, and like they had confidence. They made a bunch of subs, and we just like fell into disarray. And then Enrique came on, and I was like, oh my god, we're gonna steal it out of nowhere, and we just can't do it. I mean, there was another chance. I can't remember. Well, obviously Angulo's one where he broke free and didn't pass or shoot, just completely. Like those are stone cold goals, man. Like we've got to take those chances, and too often we break away and we don't know what to do, man. We just get to the box and make the wrong decision like 9 times out of 10. It's so frustrating sometimes. So quality, we need quality at both ends of the field.
Well, I mean, the quality is there; it's just not showing up to work.
I mean, that's the thing. The quality,
or if it does,
falling off a cliff.
Right, or if it does,
we got like Chicago level quality right now.
It's sad. I mean, or it does, but every other game.
You know, like against Columbus, we look way better. Like you play up and you play down. Like even though we lost like Columbus, we play way better. So I was like, okay, if we play like that against Chicago, then we should beat them easily.
No,
and we couldn't.
Now here, it's, as you can see on our videos, it's all time stamped. You guys can check out. Thank you to the 125 people watching us. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. If you're on X,
comments.
If you're on X, retweet the video, and you can comment also. And if you're on YouTube, drop your comment and drop us a thumbs up and share the video. So when it comes to our videos are timestamped, so all the questions are right there. So here Oscar mentions that Angulo's play should have been a PK. And then they ask him, was it the field? Why Orlando had this result? And then the 20 minutes versus Chicago, the last 20 minutes. So let's put that one.
Result you guys were looking to get tonight. I guess if you can tell us a little bit about those last 20 or so minutes, and where basically Chicago was looking to take a win for this victory.
Right. Yeah. That we decrease our organization, especially in the middle. They start just occupying spaces in the middle that we couldn't control. And as the game went on, we felt that Chicago would having some dangerous actions there. We have ours too, couple ones that we could have defined better, but it's true that in the last part we lost a little bit of control.
Go back to my.
That's it.
Oscar, you deployed Martin and Luis together as the strike partnership. It kind of looked like they were trying to occupy the same spaces at times. How would you assess the game between those two tonight?
Right, it's true. We would have a design on the movements that we make in order to receive the ball in the spaces, and especially in the first half, we occupied that space both at the same time. We tried to correct it, tried to keep Luis ahead, and just free Martin in front of him, but just not occupying that sector of the pitch. But it created a bit of a challenge for us, and it's true, we should have done better too.
Two more.
There you go. So you could tell he didn't really was into the Ojeda Muriel connection right there, John.
I think he, like we discussed, man. I was wondering why Oscar never wants to play him, and now I'm starting to see why.
So you can check out the footage right there. The whole press conference is there, all timestamped for you on our YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell for notifications. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. So going into now what's coming to a tough opponent, in my opinion. One of the teams that it used to be a thorn on our side. Lately, we've gotten a lot of good results against them. But now they're playing with their star man, right? Forsberg. They come from beating Charlotte 3-1 with two golazos from Emil Forsberg in minutes 74 and 76. Thoughts on and expectations for the Red Bulls, John?
Well, yeah, I mean, not high. If we play like we did against Chicago, they're going to beat us, no problem. So we have to play better than we did against Columbus, but even that wasn't enough. So it's going to be hard, man. They're fourth. It's an away game. They've got Morgan, Forsberg, Vanzier. They already, scored goals against us earlier in the year. It was a tough, 1-1 draw last time we played. So maybe we can get a result, but I'm not, based on that last game on Wednesday, I'm not hopeful. Duncan could be back. That could be a big factor here.
Yeah, so DC plays against Toronto in DC. You also have Nashville playing New England in Nashville. And then you have Philly. Philly's playing, but they just played Toronto and they tied. But they're going to be playing Montreal in Philly. So all three teams that are above us literally are going to be playing at home. We're the only one playing away. Now, we're desperate for the 3 points. Now, in the event that Orlando wins against the Red Bulls, and then Philly, Nashville, and DC lose, Orlando will get the 8th spot. We will move up to the 8th spot to playoff contention. So obviously we have to depend on all those 3 results, right? If not, we're going to be still in the same position. But a win is needed no matter what. I mean, this is a must win. I mean, if Orlando gets 0 points out of this, 1 point out of these 2 games, it's definitely not good. So we have training footage that was sent today, that we got today for the game right here. Sorry, for the Lions. Let me go ahead and look it up real quick. Right here, right here. Let's watch. So let me see. You see Mason right there training right there. Maybe that's a sign or something. uh, you know, he gets a good like 10 seconds there on the video, right? And then you see right there Duncan. Duncan has been practicing fully according to my notes, and
Yep,
he's
back in training.
yeah, he's had that arm kind of looks like an armband right there. I think helping him through the training.
Jump. Go.
Now you have to understand the training footage they don't show a lot of what they truly do, right? Because then you get to know a lot of the
Jump. Go.
now the good thing here is that we see Felipe right there. We see Jacqueline on the other side, and we see Duncan as well, and Jacqueline. Now, this right here is what I wanted to show you, John. Look, he looks back to me.
He looks ready to go, man.
Yeah, he looks ready to go.
I think it's just the shoulder. He just couldn't do contact for a certain amount of time, It's not his legs. It was always his elbow or whatever he did when he fell like that. So he's ready to go. It's not a knee or an ankle or any of that.
So what I think they're doing here is they're doing transition drills. So like
yeah, we're gonna be compact and then hit Red Bulls in the I mean, that's the only way we're gonna
transition drills right there. Look,
Oscar's reverting to we gotta be solid. Away from home, that's often the tactic. And especially a game like a team like this. It's hard to be the protagonist at their house.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I look at Kuchevsky also. Like, look at the assist right there, and then the assist by Duncan, and then you got Jack. Then so they're practicing this transition drills, which I think is great. Now, just the finishing, Profe. Let's see what Profe said.
He looks weary. I gotta say that.
I will say, I mean, you have to understand.
He looks tired.
Yeah, I mean, he looks tired. I totally understand.
I mean, they've got a away trip to away trip.
It's tough.
It's a lot.
Tough. Imagine if they're staying like at a Courtyard Marriott or like and they have those scrambled eggs made out of a bag. You know what I mean?
They got the fancy place, right?
Nice
hotel rooms. You hope so. I don't know where they stay.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Okay. Right. We are recording the players from the effort and the game that we just played here in Chicago. We have a short time to do it, but we're good. We're in a good state of mind, and just trying to flush the game from yesterday and trying to get into the game tomorrow training as well. We just did it this morning, but we have another section in the morning tomorrow. And I think they well, we had a good game, and they come up from having a good one as well against Charlotte when we played them. I thought it was a good performance,
bro.
And we had already that context. But at this moment, just going one game at a time, I've seen preparing our mind and our faces tomorrow and trying to get a result in New York. That for us is a priority. You meant us or New York?
Just you. As you know, the team's been unbeaten the last couple games on the road.
No, we have showed during the season so far that the best results that we had gotten on has been in on the road. So we hope to continue with that production, understanding that we have to get better in our games at home. But now we're good, positive, and trying to get this result. And in New York, it's important for us before the break. It's important for the players, and just keep adding points to see if we can get closer to better positions in the standings.
There you go. All the footage is there on our YouTube channel. Let's read some comments real quick. Calling LCSC. I wasn't ready to be back at the bottom, worrying about other teams' results this season. War's first 15 games in our MLS history. Something has to change.
I don't know, man.
No, I don't know
What was
about
that?
that, man.
2017. What was
Yeah,
that one? That was
2015 too with Ricketts.
there's been some bad times.
Ricketts era.
I agree. It's pretty bad right now. It's obviously we don't want to be down there. Obviously we're frustrated. Everything, something has to change. Yes,
sure.
Whether they change Oscar or not, we'll see. Like I said, I mean, I think people can demand, he gets fired and all this stuff. I understand that's the way you feel, but we got to wait and see whether the Wilfs feel that way too, whether they want to do that, whatever their decision is. So I don't think it's happening anytime soon, even if results get worse. I still think they're going to give him the whole year. I really think that's going to, until it's like mathematically we're out of playoffs, either one of those, I think it's going to be a while. So the change, I believe right now is hopefully going to happen under this regime that we need to see, like it did last year. If not, then I will definitely be saying that we need to make a change as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I have a different take. And if I say it, it might not sound good. Because I am completely different. Like sometimes too out there. So I would hate to say, look, I keep it short and simple. I'm really not the to look at numbers a lot. I just feel that compared to how it was before and the team was before when they first came to the MLS, I think right now they have a better put on organization as a club. Now you can definitely, and I totally agree with the fans in this.
The results are bad, but overall,
the
as a
results,
club, I
as
feel
a
much
club,
better than where we were
grown
5
now.
years ago.
We need to stop fighting each other. That's one thing. We need to stop supporting the city, not results. Because we also have to know where we stand. And again, that goes into the controversy I'm going to say. We're Orlando. We ain't LA. Now, we have to also know where we are. Right? And the things and how we do things. Now, yes, some of the maybe acquisitions haven't panned out the way they wanted to. That happens in every single major club in the world. Now, I completely agree with Colin that no one, including myself, including John, I think, we expected for the team to be this bad at this time, right? Because of the expectation, right? That's why sometimes having over highly expectations, when you don't meet them, it comes crashing down and causes a lot of hurt and it causes a lot of sadness. So I could wholeheartedly agree that. But to say that this is like we are just, we're the worst thing since we're the worst thing since I don't know. I don't know. It says check out the numbers. This is the worst start. Okay, well, Colin has the numbers. We don't. I don't.
Is the like literary results is what he's saying. Like actually, the amount of points we have so
he wants
is the worst.
So my question is,
but also things could get better. You know what I mean?
Things could get better.
Yes, it's a very, very bad start.
Now, are
But
people going to so if let's say Orlando doesn't qualify to playoffs, let's say Orlando doesn't qualify to the playoffs.
yeah,
So people are going to defect to the Rowdies.
no.
People are going to defect to Inter Miami. They're going to start wearing Cincinnati jerseys.
I
Because, I mean, they're getting the results.
I think that's definitely. I mean, it's all about
or are
the
they going to
club.
be, or they, or this
100%.
is, or it's through thick and thin here? That's my question.
What you always say about, fan of the result or fan of the badge and the club,
Exactly.
and like, yeah, I agree with that 100%. But also those people that are fans of the club want to see where they're not going to go anywhere, but we want results. Obviously watching all of the other teams around the league win, and you're not winning like that.
Yeah,
that sucks.
yeah,
And I think this was this year, like you said, there was a lot of hype. There was a lot of like, hey, this is our shot, and it's come falling down. But that doesn't mean that we can't still make playoffs and give an account of ourselves. Like it could all get better. Do I think we're winning anything this year? Probably not.
Probably not.
So if you were like, and that again, it comes back to the Wilfs.
Probably
if they're
not.
like, I must win, then they probably will make a change. If they're like, let's go again next year, see if we can do better with the same situation. Who knows? But it's their mentality that matters the most.
Colin says you can't sustain these results and expect the coach and players to keep their jobs. Okay, but I agree with you there on the premise that because I do HR for a living, so on the side. So yes, if you don't meet performance or KPIs, your employer is allowed to cut ties with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you, but in the end, it's in the employer's discretion.
And also, it's what are those, right? Like what
KPIs?
Is it Oscar? Just we want to be a top 5 team. It's an incredible turnaround. We could still do that, or is it we want to win now? Or is it we're just happy with making playoffs? We don't know what that is. That Oscar has been told that,
right.
And again, that not even coming from the Wilfs. That's coming from the GM. That's the Wilfs should be talking to Luis Musi, and Luis Musi is talking to Oscar. There's a chain of command here. That's how things should run. It's all board meetings and assessments. It's. I don't want to be Chelsea, Luis. I don't. I am quite.
You don't want to be Man City, John. You don't want to be Man City.
I also think that if you're going to take a risk and change manager, which if we have to, and I will support that if it's the right thing to do, it's never a guarantee that things are going to get better.
Look,
there can be things can get worse. Things can stay the same. There's a lot of variables there, and I'm not saying it's going to 100% get better if you keep Oscar either. It's just all about whether you want to roll the dice, whether you want to change the squad or the manager or the GM or whatever. If things aren't going right, they will do something. That of 100%.
Also, you have to understand there's clubs that, I mean, number one, and I understand so bad. No sporting organization goes and says, oh, my fans don't like this player. Let's fire him.
Well, not unless you really offend and
correct
a fan or something.
Right, unless it's something like on the verge of HR, right? But something really toxic, right?
You got some incident or you're in social media,
I agree.
Attacking fans.
I agree, definitely.
Outside of
definitely. That. But no organization in the world is going to do that. Now, so what I'm trying to say is there's a process, and for Orlando it's taking a little longer, and I feel like, again, yes, changes may come at the end of the year, right, John? I mean, or
they may come in the summer,
or you may come in the summer. I mean,
we don't know.
I just really feel like for example, Cincinnati, similar path as us, right? Why do they have a huge success right now? What do you think it is?
I think they hit more on their DPs than we did, and that's a lot of it.
Bingo, sir.
They've had better DP success, and then you're not even looking at Oscar. Then I'm looking at the guys who are actually bringing in the players.
No.
Yes, Oscar has a part of that, but I think it's more to do with Luis and Ricardo. So
no, what's gonna happen if they don't win the MLS Cup this year? Our FC Cincinnati fans are gonna say, "Hey, let's fire everybody." Probably not, right?
No, not with that.
But probably they want to improve a little bit, and so and that improvement may pan out with certain players and certain budget that they have to do in order for things to move along, because there's other salaries to pay and other things to pay, and it has to budget out correctly, and those players that they may get may not come their way, and they may go a similar path as we are, but there's still going to be FC Cincinnati fans.
I mean, last year we thought we'd hit on our 2 or 3 DPs. We're like, okay, Ojeda's getting better. Facu was having a great season. This year they're all down on the stock. If you look at someone like LA Galaxy, it's the complete opposite. They missed on all their DPs, and then they brought in some, and Ricky Pugh just lining it up, and you've got
it's taking 2 seasons for Ricky Pugh to be played at this level.
So what I'm saying is, if you get those pieces right, everything turns around. Like the rest of the LA team, the LA Galaxy team, is mainly pretty much the same from the team that was way down there the last few years. And this year they're way up there because they changed a few DPs, got it all right.
They got a good coach,
and then it's all firing. And that's why Columbus is so good right now. That's why LAFC have been consistent. Cincinnati have been consistent. Philly are pretty consistent because they haven't even changed their team. They pretty much kept the same successful DPs for years. So you got to hit on all of those, because just the way the MLS is built, we're not Miami. We can't just
we're never going to be Miami.
So we find we can't just keep replacing injured players constantly with more expensive DPs apparently. So I think we have to hope that maybe they'll improve this year, and if they don't improve, then we got to roll the dice again and shake things up. But a lot of the core of this squad is a very good team, so it's frustrating that we're down there because we shouldn't be down there.
Does anyone watch Sunderland Till I Die? Interesting parallels between the show and OC over the years. I don't know. I've never seen it, John.
I've been a Stoke fan my whole life, man. I've spent a lot of time. Like we got relegated into the championship, and year after year, it's like, oh, we're gonna change the squad, we're gonna change the manager, we're gonna change this, and we constantly changing everything, and none of it has been working. So what I'm saying is, yes, you could stick around and not get the results with the same manager, or you could constantly change your manager every year. View Chelsea, for example, and it can get even worse. So what I'm saying is there's always a risk. There's always a roll of the dice. If people will stick with the manager you've got and it doesn't go well, they'll blame that. If we change the manager and that doesn't go well, they'll blame that. Like it's you're always going to find something to poke holes at. And some people are going to have a stance and a viewpoint of it one way, and other people are going to have a stance and a viewpoint of it the other way. And that's essentially where you lie, and then you're going to have disagreements with other people because of that. So I understand both sides completely. I get it. I'm frustrated and everything else. It just depends how much patience we have, but more than anything, it depends how much patience the Wilfs have to be this far down the table and for prospects to look so poorly currently under the situation. Like I said 1,000 times this episode.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
How much can they endure that before they want to do something?
And again, I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's soccer's like that, man. It's a whole process. I mean, you've been in the back end of it. You've seen it all of this start, right? It's passion for so many, right, John? So I mean, you could definitely understand it's not easy. It takes more than just putting players together on a field and playing a game with a ball in the middle, right? It's more than that. And clearly, yes, the expectations were there for Orlando this season. And again, they deserve those expectations because of the way they ended last season, right? But now, unfortunately, it didn't pan out this season, and there's a lot of reasons that we don't know, but right now are coming up that are probably just tired legs. Facundo Torres underperforming, things like that. You know, some changing tactics. It could be a lot of things, but a you know there's still light at the end of the tunnel, guys. So, I still feel like, the expectations of maybe winning the whole thing this year are definitely dim. I mean, they're not impossible because, again, this sport shows you, that, everything is completely unpredictable, and it cannot be, you know, sometimes, just getting, like Columbus, right? They got into the playoffs in one of the lower positions into the playoffs, and then they ended up winning the whole thing, right? So um, it's a matter of that, and now Columbus is ready to play a final. Now we have to follow those models. We cannot get carried away for what the team down south is doing or what other teams may be doing with buying players. We got to do it our own way, and I think our way is good. It's
Definitely
working.
Cincinnati are the example that we should be
Or
following
in
for
Columbus.
sure. Yeah, Columbus. I mean, Columbus is a bigger team, and
Yeah.
they've got more history and stuff. But anyway, Luis, I wanted to also drop in a little bit of Duncan watch, as it is a Thursday. He got called up to the U.S. men's national team for the Olympics, as everybody
right.
knows. That's great for him. Excited for that. I can't wait to see him playing with the American jersey on again. Tom Bogut did an update on his YouTube channel on his transfer status, just kind of saying, the club wants him to stay, championship clubs are interested, et cetera, similar stuff to what we've been reporting. Really just, waiting to see what happens with that. But awesome that he is in the men's Olympic team. We suspected as much, and there's a few big boy stars in there, like the main team. Like Ryan Reynolds has been in the main team, John Tolkien. Some of these guys have had time in the U.S. top team as well. So it's great to see that he's in amongst them, and he's gonna have a good showing, hopefully. Yeah, Patrick Schulte causing problems. Now playing, instead of saving Duncan, playing with Duncan. So I think it's great, man. And congratulations to him. And hopefully he's still going to be here at the end of the summer, but I'm still not convinced that's going to happen.
You think so?
No, I really still think he's going to go.
Now, what if he wants to do a really good Olympics with the national team, and
I mean, maybe we buy down one of our other DPs and make him a DP. Like, I'm all for that. Do it. I mean, let's go. And then him and the Muriel partnership can be cemented in. I feel like we're investing time in that, and it's very clear to me that it might be
because
gone
what if he
soon.
becomes one of the biggest aces in the arsenal of the U.S. youth national team in the Olympics, and
he definitely could, man.
He scores, let's say, 7 goals. Starts
already. I think he's almost worthy of a DP contract, man, with his numbers.
Carrying it up, yeah.
Whether he's U.S. national team or not, I think if we can get him here and we can keep him here, and it's just a lot of money, it's worth it. Other teams would happily pay to keep Duncan. We should also pay to keep Duncan.
Now I have a question for you, John. So since European soccer is your forte, so let's say I'm Duncan McGuire, and hey, I have a great youth national team. I'm like the top scorer of the team. Score like 7 goals. All right. I got an offer from the first in, I don't know, Portugal or France, Olympique Marseille, or what's it called? Blackburn or somebody in the championship that it's not on the mid, but on maybe in the top 3.
Right.
Who would you pick over if you're Duncan?
I would still go to the championship, honestly,
You still go
because
to
if they're a
championship?
top championship club and they have that prospect of being promoted in the Premier League and you can be a part of that, maybe if it's a big, a big team in France or a big team in Italy, but it depends. I think more than anything for Duncan, it's about playtime. I think that's
Correct.
like if he's looking at one of these championship teams
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, we're gonna bring you in as a
Starter.
rotation option, whatever, he's gonna be like, no. I think that's the thing with Blackburn and these other clubs, that why he would be interested in going to a lower end championship is because they're being like, we're gonna make you the main striker. But I would be wary of that if I was Duncan, because they say that to a lot of players in
Correct.
Europe, and then you get there and you don't perform, and then you go, okay, well, you're no longer starting because you're not scoring. So promises are only as good as you feel like they're actually, and I wouldn't trust anything that Blackburn tells you anyway. So yeah, but we'll see what happens with Duncan. Luis, do you want to do the lineup for the Red Bulls?
Yeah, sure. Let's do
Before
the
we
lineup.
go, I've also got a little surprise to show you as well, something I've been thinking about.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and do the lineup real quick here. Thank you to everybody that's watching. 150 people, John. Incredible. That's awesome.
Thank you, everybody. And
Thank you, everyone.
drop your comments. We want to know what you would.
Yeah, thank you so
what
much.
you think about this game coming up, man?
Look, honestly, stay compact, and they gotta honestly, it's a do or die. I think every game now for Orlando is do or die.
Every game.
And so
it's been like every game for a month is do
but
or
I mean,
die, man.
it's just that they're so inconsistent. Like some games they are
we had that nice little spell.
Yeah,
and
they're
now
playing
we're
this
looking
tiki
at
taka. They're playing this
a loss, a tie.
Muriel scores a brace. They're playing these tiki taka right in the mid, and then other games you got against the Red Bulls, and it's just that's why fans are so frustrated, and it totally makes sense. I just want some consistency. Honestly, I would rather them play a very conservative game, but just play it well. That's all I ask.
I want to see better quality in the final third.
Correct.
Like that we can live with the defensive error here or there if we're putting away these chances we're creating. We're creating chances and just wasting them constantly. It's so wasteful.
I mean, we lost the double pivot because we lost the double pivot because of the 3-5-2.
Yeah. But so, I'm living without that, honestly. It's not like we're not creating stuff. We are. It's just disappointing the way that we get to the end line or get to the edge of the box, and just even Muriel, like just lack of quality this last few games, man.
Yeah, so
Pedro, Bracalo, Wilder,
and Schlegel because he Robin can play because of yellow card accumulation, which again, I think if you're the captain, you can't be. We know that the ref belongs to no BT, Robin, but like you don't get another yellow card.
Can we just not have the ref screw us in this game as well? That would be nice.
True.
That would be nice for we have a hard enough time. It is playing well. Can we not add on a terrible decision that gets in everybody's heads? I think more than anything, the last 2 games, at least, they've just lost their heads because of this controversy, and they get so annoyed and so frustrated that I feel like they lose their focus.
Yeah, it's just
so you got Dagger at right wing back, Baku probably going to be at left wing back again.
If you ask me, I'll put Angulo there.
I think let's do what we think is going to be the Oscar first.
Yeah, it's going to be Facundo Torres.
Then we'll debate what we might do.
It's going to be Facundo Torres there, and then and then
it's going to be Cesar and Lodero again, probably.
Yeah, it's going to be Angulo, and here's Cesar. And then right here, it's going to be Lodero, which he came as a bench player, but ended up becoming a starter. So,
yep.
And then here, again, the way Duncan looks, he looks ready.
Yeah, he's gonna start.
to me, it's going to be Muriel
Yeah.
and it's going to be Duncan.
Yeah.
Now, if Duncan's not ready, I guarantee you're probably going to see Ojeda again. Or maybe Ramiro.
I would go Ramiro, but yeah, maybe.
I mean,
yeah.
well, you know how Oscar is. You don't. He always he wants to give his players trust. I think you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
So, right here,
I sent you, Luis. What I mean, I'm not a coach. I'm not a tactical genius or anything else. I just was thinking about this 3-back formation and where I think the players should be moved around to play. So you'll see it's a little bit different from what we going on, but I think this would make more sense if you ask me, in terms of player roles and what they're doing in the team. So it's the same back three like Jensen, Wilder, Bracalo, but you put Angulo as your right wing back, and you put Santos as your left wing back, and you put Dagger down to play with Cesar in D mid, being a box to box mid, which he basically is. That's his natural role next to Cesar. And then you put Nico and Facu as like attacking mids behind Muriel as your sort of front three triangle. That, in my opinion, that's where Facu and Nico want to be all the time anyway. They're both kind of 10s. Make some magic between those three, Facu, Muriel, and Torres up front, while you let your wings, like your wing backs, like Santos is actually a left back come wing back, and Angulo's a right mid, essentially. Like if I was saying you what position is Angulo, he's a right mid more than anything. Let him play right wing back. Dagerdan can definitely relearn how to be a defensive mid. It's no problem. So I think for me, Luis, this is logically what I would do if I was going to play three center backs and one at Muriel. And if we're thinking there's no Duncan. So this is why I get confused as why Oscar plays it the other way. Because I think this is naturally where all these players should be. Maybe Dagerdan now is a right wing back.
Maybe
he could go back
but
quite easily, in my opinion.
I mean, look, we already know that Angulo can defend, and we know already Torres is kind of defending a little more. But both having them on one side, it's pretty.
Well, you could swap like Ladero,
no, but
you know what I mean? Like it's not.
So no. So what I'm saying is,
stone.
I mean, in transition, I mean, it's a very pacey right side. You know what I mean? With Ladero, I mean, if let's say they lose the ball and then they retreat, I mean, Ladero can. I mean, I can move.
I mean, we see Ladero up there all the time, you know.
Ladero can cover for Santos. I mean, you know he's had the stamina. I mean, he's played full minutes as well. So I don't think this is a bad option in my opinion.
I was thinking out of like subjectively, if I was like a new coach and I got this squad of players and I said play them in a 3-back, this is more where I would put them than what we're doing now. So that's why I'm like, okay, let's maybe rethink about how this could work with a different.
No, another thing is Muriel is a lone striker. That's another thing, you know.
Well, he's kind of like, I don't know. You see at the moment, he's often the lone striker. These other players that are around him, it's only with Duncan do we see them together. When Duncan's not been there, it's more of a Muriel with like attacking mids next to him, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, that was my random.
No, I think I think this is great. You know,
Jim D will hate it because I've taken a Dagger down off the right wing.
There you go, Jim D. My man.
Score prediction, Luis, before we get out of here. We've done a long one.
I mean, when I'm gonna go 2-1 Orlando.
I'm gonna go 2-2.
Orlando.
I'll be happy with that too as a draw. I can't.
I'll go. You know, Orlando usually loses against the easy teams and then
wins. I mean, it's like a hard away game. That means we're gonna play well. What?
So now,
you know,
I do have to say they got to improve for the fans. You know, a lot of people.
I mean, this one, but we got to win at home more than anything.
Yeah, we got to win at home against LAFC. I think is the next home game. So I mean, it's gonna be tough, but I mean, the fans deserve it, man. I mean, 21. I mean, I feel bad for the people. 21,000 people. You know, and then they see you lose, and then the night before they saw the Pride win. No, the night before, yeah, they saw the Pride win. You know, yeah, and then
after this Saturday, Luis, we're gonna have 2 weeks off before that LAFC game at home. So hopefully we'll come back from this little break and be refreshed and ready to go on June 15th for the next home game.
There you go. Anything else you want to add, John, before we go?
No, just thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You know, like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. We'll be back on Monday to talk more about the Red Bulls and preview. Well, actually, we probably won't preview LAFC. No, we'll just talk about Red Bulls on Monday.
Yeah. So I'll be going on a trip the first week of June. I'll be traveling.
Luis is going away, so you're gonna have me manage your things while you're gone.
John, I'm going to John's home country.
Yeah, you're gonna go to England while I'm here.
We're gonna eat some fish and chips.
Yeah.
There you go. A black and tan, right?
Yep. Get yourself some snake bite. Love it.
So there you go. Just listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on X at LP_podcast, Instagram LP_podcast, Facebook as well as Loud and Proud Orlando, and YouTube as LP_podcast, so Loud and Proud Orlando. Also, Paola's Spanish Pod, Tito de Esquina podcast, available on YouTube, Instagram, X.
Paula
TikTok.
will be back on Monday.
Yeah, Paula will be back on Monday. So she's going to have a new Spanish accent with the Z's right there.
She better not wear that Barca jersey on the pod. I'll tell you that right now.
Unbelievable. She did not get the Messi jersey, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still a Real fan, so.
There you go. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for your support. And as always, vamos Orlando. Take care, guys.
Vamos Orlando.
Take care.